Several years ago, a friend gave me this book, 1001 Comics You Must Read Before You Die. And at that time in my life, I was getting a little tired of just reading superhero comics, and this is exactly what I needed. I discovered that there were comics from all over the world that I'd never heard of before, and stuff dating back over 120 years. This was an eye-opener for me, and I'm going to share some of my selections that I consider some of my favorite comics that I found thanks to this book. So I hope that you join me and give some new comics a chance. You might be surprised at what you might like. The book I want to share with you today is Paul Has a Summer Job by Michel Rabagliati. Now, this is a semi-autobiographical comic, and I mean semi in the sense that Paul isn't exactly Michel, but he certainly represents Michel, and a lot of the things that happen in Paul's life are things that are drawn directly out of Michel's past. This is part of a series, the Paul series, of course, and these books are fantastic. I really do actually think that this could possibly be my favorite comic book series of all time. I just love these books so much. And the reason I love them is because the character of Paul is such an endearing character. He's not perfect, not by a long shot, but he perseveres, and it's just a slice of life comic that really draws you in, and you get so absorbed in his life, in his family, in his friends, in his jobs, and his bumbling nature. It's just kind of a really enduring comic. This volume in particular shows Paul as a teenager in 1979. He's fed up with his jobs and needs to kind of find his place in life, and so he signs up to be a camp counselor. And this is a job that really transforms him and shows him the meaning of growing up, shows him the meaning of romance and finding his first love, and shows the meaning of being responsible for kids, for himself, all this kind of stuff. A really, really great coming-of-age story. Michel Rabagliati is an architect turned cartoonist, and you can tell when you look at his work, especially his later work, because a lot of it, especially the backgrounds and buildings, are so precise. This volume is one of his earlier volumes, and his drawing is much more loose, much more fluid, much more cartoony. I really love it. He gets some great expressive faces and actions and poses, and it's just a joy to read through the whole thing. This is part of a series, like I said, but you don't have to read any of them in order. In fact, if you read the publication order, that's not even in chronological order in terms of Paul's life. For each book, Michel just picks whatever era he wants and pulls a story out of there and creates a book about it. So sometimes he's a teenager, sometimes he's a single adult, sometimes he's married with kids, sometimes he's an old man, you just gotta pick up one and it's a full self-contained story, and they're all great. So I totally recommend the Paul series, and especially this one here, Paul Has a Summer Job, as recommended by 1001 Comics, published by Drawn and Quarterly in English in 2003.